The power to surprise, that is Kia's claim, and I can tell you what, with the Seltos making its grand, emphatic global premiere here in India, that is certainly turning out to be quite true. Now, we've talked about this car and the anticipation around it for quite some time, so there's lots of things about it that you already know, but what about the stuff that you don't know? Well, that's what I'm going to focus on right now. This is the production version, and so you can see how it looks. It carries forward Kia's design language and yet brings in a lot of newness. There's lots of firsts, not just for India, not just for the segment, but for Kia as well, and that's what makes it really interesting. Also kind of highlights to you how important the Indian market is for Kia. So up front, you see there's a lot of bling. There's a very specific use of this diamond pattern in the grille, which gives it this embossed, embellished look and makes it look kind of upmarket, kind of takes it a notch higher. Then, of course, you've got the DRLs, which are all the way from here and then making that little heartbeat icon. That's what Kia likes to call it. Then you've got the fog lamps down below, really well integrated. Again, in keeping with that tiger nose feature that you see in the grille, it all comes together very much in line with Kia's design. So that, you've got 8 colors to choose from. This is the red, that's going to be one of the positioning colors. There's white, there's orange, there's silver, and a really nice blue. And in terms of profile and size, of course, again, something we've talked about many times, the fact that this is based on the Creta. It shares a lot with the Creta. But look at the car, it just becomes Creta Plus or Creta Plus Plus in many ways because it is loaded to the gills. There will be a whole bunch of variants that will only happen at launch, so we don't have those details yet. But what I can tell you is that there will be 2 certain lines that will be offered with the car. There's the Tech line and then there is the GT line. This car is the GT line. So what does that get you? Well, first up, out here in the front, you can see a little bit of a red stripe. Now, I know the car being red, you can't really make out the difference, but you can certainly see the extra red with the brakes and the hub here in the wheel. So that would be part of the GT line. You also have a red stripe that comes down here below the cladding. And again, little difficult for you to tell perhaps from the paintwork, but yes, this is a red stripe. Would look terrific on the white car, for example. And then, of course, when you come around to the back, you start to see a lot of chrome that's really well finished, nicely designed, and then the GT line badging back here as well. Now, speaking of badging, the TGDI badging tells you that this is the new engine. This is the new 1.4 TGDI turbocharged petrol engine, and it's going to be paired with, amongst other things, the 7-speed DCT. That's again going to be a big highlight because that becomes a sort of performance model, and the GT line will only be offered in that combination. Besides that, you've also got a CVT option on the other petrol. There's also the diesel, remember, and there's going to be a torque converter, 6-speed automatic, and a 6-speed manual on offer across the range too. So 4 different transmission options and a bunch of engines on offer on this car. It will be made here in India and exported to other parts of Asia, to Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. The car will also be made in Korea, and that would then go to Europe and to the United States. And so only 2 manufacturing locations. India gets that pride of place by becoming the lead market, also the world debut market for this car. Now, when does it arrive and what sort of pricing can you expect? Well, while you try and take a peek inside the windows, because this is a car we can't still open up and show you the interiors of, what you can see is a nice all-black sporty treatment. This is the GT line, remember, but there will be other options. The car is also loaded with technology. There's a bunch of touchscreen features. There is the UVO Connect, as Kia calls it, which is the new connectivity system that uses an embedded SIM, very much like Blue Link from Hyundai. Works very similarly, so it gives you different kinds of features where your phone app becomes a remote control for the car. You've also got, of course, connectivity that allows you to have any kind of help coming to you in an emergency or a distress situation. And then, of course, you can also geo-fence the car and locate it and send navigation inputs to it as well. So lots really from a technology point of view as well, and lots of segment firsts. The rear seat, for example, has a screen that goes up, a sunshade. That's something that a lot of chauffeur-driven people are going to enjoy, and that is just one of many segment firsts that this car will bring, not just to our market, but worldwide when the Seltos starts to make its way into different markets. So really formidable first product, really formidable SUV as well, because the compact space is growing really fast worldwide, and Kia hopes to cash in on that with this. You've got a nice chance to take a good look at the car firsthand today, and you can see that in terms of finish, styling and embellishment, ground clearance, height, overall stance, the car certainly lives up to all the hype. And so pricing, that's the last thing I want to quickly talk about. Now, no prices announced today, of course, but there was a claim made here today by the marketing people at Kia India that this car will surprise you with its prices. Now, the power to surprise, I started with that line. What does that mean? It means expect competitive pricing. It means expect lots of different variants, because the car will probably start really competitively, and then the one that's loaded to the gills like this one will be priced fairly at a premium. So there'll be a wide range of pricing is what I can expect at this stage. And yes, the whole target here is to make sure that this model becomes a big success for Kia, because Kia's president and CEO spoke with me a little while earlier, Mr. Han-Woo Park, and he admitted and kept in fact saying that we're a late entrant, we're too late here into India, and which is why it's important to play catch up. A $1.1 billion investment, a 300,000 units annual capacity plant, well, that is aggressive, and we've talked about that before, and that also tells you that a large chunk of that will come from this car. Last point, will the Seltos be alone? No. That massive network around the country and all of that investment will mean that we'll get 4 cars, 4 different models, including the Seltos, from Kia between now and 2021.